Welcome everyone to the Highball Advisors Railroad Retirement Whiteboard. My name is John McNamara with Highball Advisors, and today's topic is man versus machine in railroad retirement. So what am I talking about here? I'm talking about the managing of your investments, right? You put money into mutual funds or ETFs, and how do they perform, right? What kind of, how can you judge if something's working well or not, right? You just give money to money managers and they manage it. You get a return back and you go, I guess that's good. I don't know. So I just want you to start thinking about saying, is this the right investment or not for me? So I got an interesting piece of data from the S&P company from Dow Jones, and they did a study of active money managers, people manage mutual funds, they're economists and fund managers, CFAs, really bright people. And they did a study of those really active money managers versus just the index, right? Just investment, it just tracks an index, you replicate it, and that's called a passive investment, right? So like the S&P 500. You can invest and just track that index. So the S&P 500 is 500 largest companies in the United States, and say, okay, I want to invest so that I have a piece of all those companies in the S&P 500. And you can do that. You can do that through a mutual fund or through an ETF, and that's called passive investing, right? So those are the two types. You have active and passive, right? The money managers, which is man, right? Or passive, which is just machine. I mean, there's really nothing to it. They're very cheap. It's just a computer program for the most part. And, it just puts money in, money out, and it just tracks the index. All right. So how did the performance go? So over the last 10 years, this was unbelievable when I got this. So large cap, right? Passive investing beat active 89% of all the funds over the last 10 years. Passive beat 89% of all the active funds. You go to mid cap, they beat 84% of all the funds, right? And then you continue on. Small cap, 89% of the time. So let's say in small cap, just to use that example, right? So you have money managers that are investing in these small companies, trying to identify people. So, they're usually higher expense. Or you can just invest in, let's say, the Russell 2000, which is an index of the 2,000 of the smallest companies in the United States that are publicly traded. But that index, 89% of the time, if you just bought the index, you're going to beat these active money managers. So, right? And then even if you move out of equities, move into, let's say, bonds, right? Long-term bonds, 99% of the time. They beat them, right? Because these active money managers, why they might be good or they might be able, but they also have a lot of expenses that go with it. So especially when interest rates are so low, it's very difficult to beat the index, right? When you invest in fixed income, you really got to drive those expenses down. So that's why that's 99%, right? So then moving on, right, as we keep looking further into asset classes, right? Let's move overseas now. So on international funds, 90% of the time, international small caps, right? And you kind of think of small caps, say, well, I really need an expert to go into the country there. He knows or she knows that whole country, knows where all the hidden gems are underneath there. 68% of the time, invest in an index because they're beating the active managers. What's going on here? Emerging markets, right? Those are the far out countries that are, just starting to enter the 2000s for the most part, right? 90% of the time, the index beats it. So you're going, wow, that's unbelievable. So look at the passive indexing, right? And then even in this market dip that we had, because one of the big selling points or value propositions for the active managing of money is that they're nimble, they're quick, they can get ahead of these moves and save you some real money. And you kind of think and go, yeah, that makes sense. But let's look at this last move, year to date, right? The S&P 500, right? This ETF here, VOO, I think that's run by Vanguard. Okay, that's beat 66% of the large cap active fund managers just on the index. And we just had a huge move down. That's the value proposition in active management. So once again, that's kind of not what's happening there. So I just wanted to show this to you, get you thinking about it. Think about how you're investments are being positioned, right? Are you active? Are you passive? You know, maybe you should start looking at some passive investments. You know, the data backs it up there. But anyway, I just want to bring this to your attention, get you thinking about it, because, you know, compounding of these expenses every year, over time, they do add up. And if you're not going to beat the index, well, you know, I tell you, there's not much value there then, that's for sure. So I hope you found this useful. Feel free to reach out to me if you want to discuss how I put together low-cost passive ETF portfolios. More than willing to talk to you about that. And also, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. There's a little box down in the corner. Click on that to subscribe, and that way you'll get my latest update. As always, you can always reach out to me, schedule a meeting. In the meantime, everyone, please stay safe, stay on track, and take care. So long, everybody.